every beekeeper, wherever they keep their hives, there is a microclimate. So, you know, you could have somebody a mile away and they would do better or worse. And that's the thing that I find really wonderful.
It could also be that they have bees which are suited for that particular area.
Yeah.
Local bees are best.
Every time.
Without a doubt.
Every time. Well, we had this discussion last time, didn't we?
Yeah.
And you're right. Okay, this is the hive that we put the nuke in on the 27th of June. I haven't looked in it since, so it's a bit like Christmas morning, you know, I'm dying to see what's inside. So, shall we lift, Jerry?
Yeah.
Okay. It folds, doesn't it? Okay, so there we go. And we'll take the insulation off. Oh, wow. That is pretty impressive. Do you know, the person who supplied these bees must be blooming good, I reckon.
We're not here, you know, to have a sales plug.
They have done really well. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 frames. This was where the brood was. I was having an interesting discussion with Richard. I was saying that I don't keep a long hive, I keep nationals. And in a national hive in the winter, I take the queen excluder off so that the queen's got free reign. And the bees tend to feed like almost like a chimney. As the winter progresses, they'll work their way up into the box above and then the box above that, but they won't touch the outside, or rarely touch the outside frames because it's cold. So here I'm intrigued about what we're going to do. Do we move the brood somewhere into the middle and put the honey either side so they've got easy access? So I'm a novice as far as a long hive is concerned, but they've certainly done well.
The inspector along and she gave it 100%, so that was good. And I don't know whether, Richard, did she move the frames around at all, or?
No, just did a full inspection. Went through and examined each comb under a light.
Okay. The bees will start to propolis this up now with the winter. So okay, we're going to start this end. I don't like using smoke. The very reason is that the queen runs.
Yes.
And it's really hard trying to find her. So, and particularly when you've got a honey flow on, like here, the main honey coming now is from a plant that's a bit controversial, really. It's Himalayan water balsam. What I was saying is that when there's a honey flail, which there is at present, the bees are so busy going about their business, they don't really bother about the beekeeper. It's when the honey flow suddenly stops, then they become obviously defensive and slightly difficult. So I will use.
And they also become, the further you go into the season, in September, the more defensive they become.
Absolutely, yeah. And from then onwards, I would use smoke. But you can see the bees here. This is the last frame. Balsam nectar is very, very clear. They've capped here. I would be surprised if there's any drones in here because they tend to get ejected in early August. This, of course, is their stores for the winter. So for any new beekeeper thinking of taking off honey, you've got to leave sufficient stores for the winter. 30, 35, 40 pounds of honey or syrup, you can use both, it's fine. But you've only got to about the middle of October. Obviously it depends on where you live in the country, but by the middle of October up in Yorkshire, you can't feed them, they won't take it down. Besides that, it also gives them dysentery. So that frame must weigh a couple of pounds. The sides haven't drawn out as well.
That's certainly a frame for the bees.
Yeah. And this one's starting to crystallise, so this almost looks like it's got brassica nectar. It's gone quite solid. Okay, we'll go to here. Oh, I'm very pleased with these. So if you say that that's £4, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, there's about £24 there.
We only put the nuke in, what, 3 months ago?
27th of June, so July, August, 9 weeks, 10 weeks.
Yeah, amazing, amazing.
Wonderful. I'm not going through the rest of they're all the same, but I would like to look at the brood nest. So I'm going to close this up, put this back here. As I said, the unknown quantity for me is in the winter. I can see if we leave it like this, the brood will work here. Will they work their way along to the edge here? I'm not sure. I'd like somebody who has kept a long hive to tell me how they fare. Right, now we'll have a look at the brood. Right. Morning, girls.
I used to know Mrs. Clark, who was a former president of the British Beekeepers, and she was the advisor in Surrey in the 60s. She'd been the advisor in Middlesex before the war. And the one thing she said was, good bees need fresh wax. And she made a lot of that in her time when she was working.
Yeah.
And she was right.
Yeah, as I say, I would agree with that.
Now the sound of the hive is going up, isn't it?
It is. They don't like being disturbed.
No,
oh, there's a
they
drone.
certainly
And another one there. A couple of drones. This is pollen. Are you all right, Jerry?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
this
I'm
is
all right.
pollen all here.
At present.
Honey underneath. And put that one back in. I'd like to see, is the queen still laying? She should be. And I'd like to find her. That'd be interesting. Right, what have we got here? We've got sealed brood along the bottom. Still some drones. No sign of the queen. The queen would tend to be where there's fresh eggs. Oh, she's not on that. Work slowly and methodically. I blow on the bees just to, oh, there's eggs and larvae here, down in the bottom corner. Well, she's not on that, but she is laying. Oh, the important thing now, of course, at this time of year is to think about treatment for Varroa. And there's a variety of different methods of treatment. One I've been using for many years now is Apivar.
Yeah, yeah.
You put it in, it's a plastic strip, very easy to use. So you then do a belt and braces job, and then on a nice cold frosty day in January or December, use oxalic acid. Just mix up the liquid.
Yeah.
I've got a small plastic bottle with a little reservoir in, and I dribble it along the top. It's 5 millilitres per frame. And I must admit, the first time I did it, it was a really cold day, and I thought, oh, I'm going to lose the bees. It's too cold. They're fine. The reason you do it on a cold day is that the bees are clustered. What you don't want is the bees all over the hive, because the idea is to get the liquid onto the bees. And of course, these bees and these here will be the bees that will fly next spring. And these are really important for the colony to survive the winter. Right, she's been laying on this frame today. There's a lot of eggs in this area, so this is probably where she's been this morning. If you're a new beekeeper, don't look if you're looking for your queen, don't bother with the frames with honey, not even the sealed brood. Try to find the frame with eggs in,
And of course, if she's laying, there will be more bees. Manley always used to say that the best packing for the winter were bees.
Yes, if you read one book, in fact he wrote 2 books.
3 books.
3 was it?
3,
right.
yes.
I've read 2.
They're very repetitive after the first one, but they are so much full of really good wisdom.
Yeah. It was one of the first books I read from cover to cover.
And of course, the modern equivalent of that is Healthy Bees Heavy Hives. That's also a very good read based upon practical experience.
Yeah. Okay, I'm now going to put the Apivar in. You put it in the middle of the brood nest, so just bend it back and slide it down very gently, like that. So just follow the instructions on the pack. It's so easy to use. They are very, very effective. So leave a frame apart. There we go. 6 to 8 weeks, take them out. Well, I'm very pleased with them. Considering how late in the year we put the nuke in.
Isn't that a reflection of the nectar sources in this particular area?
Yeah.
You know, you've got balsam and you've got heather and
Rosebay, willow herb. In fact, the last nectar will be ivy. For me, this would be a good colony to go into the winter. If you've got a colony on 2 or 3 frames, you're going to struggle. And I would suggest you look at United. If you've got another stronger colony, I don't think it's worth the effort. You use the newspaper method.
You are certainly right. At this time of year, if you've got weak hives, you Unite.
Yeah, it's, you know, I'm a born optimist, and I've tried in the past to get them through, but they just don't.
No.
You're doing the bees a favour by United, and it gives them a better chance. No, pretty good.
Yeah, it's good.
Pretty good. But there's a really good article in Beecraft last month. Sorry, Jerry, it's not in.
It's a very good magazine, Beecraft now.
And
It's
there's
a most excellent magazine.
a really good article about a group of some beekeepers. I'm trying to think now, Shropshire, somewhere like that they've done. Really good.
Yes, yes.
And they've taken, they call them hygienic bees.
That's it.
And they're looking at bees that take out any young Varroa mites from the cells and eject the pupa, and it's been remarkable. They've not treated their bees for a number of years now.
That's it.
I've got a couple of colonies in a sewerage farm over in Keighley, and I've not treated them 8-9 years. So I'm surprised that we've got drones, but perhaps they're like an insurance policy. I love this. I think it's a lovely hive. I'm no good for migrating. If you're going to go to the oilseed rape or the borage or heather, non-starter. But it's a really good hive. Well made, easy access. And of course, because we're in Yorkshire, one of the main crops this time of year is the heather in August. But you need high daytime and high nighttime temperatures. So you can take your bees up onto the hive, which I've done many times, and get nothing. And other times you find the bees hanging out the front. You go away on holiday in August, can't get the roof off because they've gone up through the crown board into the roof and filled it full of honey. So I've had both extremes.
Of course, you need a particular sort of preparation to get the best heather.
Yeah.
And I think that the best description of that is in Hamilton's book, because he was based here.
Yeah.
And he years and years, 50 years ago, but it's the best way about how you prepare the hives in June and July.
Yeah. You want a young queen.
Yeah.
A prolific young queen. You pack the colony full of brood so that they hatch towards the end of July and into August, and then take them up to the moors, and it's a fairly short season.
Get onto bee base.
Yeah. And if you're a bee inspector, of course, you want to know where beekeepers keep their hives. and a number of people have just put their home address, which is a help, but they also want to know whereabouts in the area you've got your hives.
I spoke to Paul Metcalf, who was the CBI in Norfolk in the 70s and 80s, and he talked about how the service developed. Originally, it was carried out, he thought, by Rothamsted, or originally it was just done by local experts, and then it seemed to be that Rothamsted took it over, and then in the 70s, I think, it might have been the 80s, when the National Bees Unit was established at Stratford-on-Avon under Vince Cook. They seem to take it over, and now, of course, it's done. Is it done by York now?
Yes, York.
Sandhutton, is it? Or,
yeah. You learn from experienced beekeepers. You don't learn from some of the things you see on the web. There are some stunning books written by experienced beekeepers, and they're the ones you want to learn from.
And I think, you know, if you do go onto the web or you want to keep bees, A, join a local society, B, get a mentor, somebody that will help you through the first season. Oh, and C, do the courses. A lot of bee associations run courses during the early spring, and they are excellent. You know, they're run by people who've kept bees many years. A, you'll learn a lot. B, you probably save an awful lot of money in buying the right equipment, and you'll get support and advice. And I know when I first started on the Isle of Wight, I used to love going to these meetings. I knew very little, and yet I would watch, observe, ask questions, and the advice was usually pretty sound. And there's usually a good cream tea afterwards.
Yes.
So it's a win-win, definitely.